to Real Talk, guys. My name is Miranda. I am Customer Experience Director at SkinViva, and this is Joanne Jarman. What's your new name, Jo?
Joanne Ridings.
Joanne Ridings. She's just got married. That's what we're going to be talking about, because this Real Talk show is all about the things that everyone is thinking about aesthetics, but no one is actually going there and talking about. So we're going to go there and talk today. Joanne is our Customer Experience Manager. You've been with SkinViva for 5-6 years, isn't it?
6 years nearly, yeah.
And what Jo has experienced recently is a Viva lift, which is a full face treatment. Do you mind sharing how many syringes you had?
I'm not sure, actually.
I love my number of syringes. 15 syringes in my face.
A lot.
Okay, fine. But what's interesting is that Jo had this treatment just before her wedding to Big Baz, Barry, who is a little bit of a celebrity at SkinViva generally, because Barry proposed to Jo at his 40th?
Yes, yeah.
His 40th, and then it went a little bit viral in our ecosystem because someone took a video and we put it up on SkinViva. So everyone loves Barry, and you guys got married recently. But what I'm interested in is, obviously you've been in the world of aesthetics for 5-6 years, and then before then you were an area manager at Clarins, weren't you? So you've been in the world of skincare for a long time. And this treatment you had recently, it's fair to say, is the biggest treatment you've had. So what kind of prompted you before you, was it the wedding that got you thinking about having the bigger treatment, or what was it?
I think the fact that I work here, so I'm seeing it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm seeing amazing results all the time.
Yeah.
And thinking, and just the fact that I'm aging all the time and looking more tired all the time. So it's always, I think it's always in the back of my mind, but something to push me to actually going for it, actually booking myself in, actually having it done, sort of always putting it off. And
so what made you put it off though? This is what I'm interested in.
I think...
Can we just say you're 43?
Yeah. I think even though I work for them, so I think people would think, oh, but she won't have any fears. She won't, she won't have all the fears that I have. And actually, because I work for them, I still have all these fears. I don't have the fears about, am I safe? Is it a doctor?
Yes.
Is it, because I know all those. I know I know we're amazing at what we do, safety particularly, all of that. But I still have the fear, I still have the same fears of needles, of actually having injectable treatment, even though I know it's not painful, but it's still, and particularly I still have, I don't know, you'd class it as emotional fears, like fears of what people think, people, because I don't look in the mirror and feel like I look really bad. I don't look at myself and think, oh my God, you're awful, I just look at myself sometimes and think, oh, I'm a bit tired. I don't feel as great. I don't look as great as I feel. So I think I still have the fear that people will think, oh, why have you had that treatment? It just puts me off a bit. And particularly, like, I fear, like, what if something did go wrong? I know nothing bad would ever happen with us, but if something, I don't know, just something little, it didn't just look quite right, and I know it's easily to resolve, but maybe for a few days you could tell that it wasn't quite, and then my friends might think, oh God, you serves you right almost, fancy having this treatment, there's nothing wrong with you in the first place, because that's what people say to you, why are you having treatment, you look fine, it's like, I don't feel like, I feel like I look fine, but actually, I just want to look the best I can though. So yes, I look good, but my hair looks particularly fine without any hair colour on, but I still want my hair coloured because I just want to look the best I can. I look okay without makeup. I'm quite lucky, my skin's okay. I'm not that liney, but actually I look even better with makeup. So it's just, I guess, most women just want to look the best they can, and this is one of the ways that I felt that I could look the best I could. I think also as well, because I was getting married and I went on a bit of a diet, didn't I? And I was trying to lose a bit of weight, and unfortunately the one place that you don't want to lose weight, it does come off your face, and because of my age, it's not so much lines with my face that bothers me. I'm quite lucky, I think, and I do have a few, but they just don't bother me. Whereas what really bothers me when I look in the mirror is like the loss of volume that you start to get here at my age. That bothers me more than the odd line and stuff. I almost think it's quite nice. It's part of who you are. It shows your expressions. Whereas when I used to look here and I could see the volume, and then of course losing weight, I felt like it exaggerated it, it made it look worse. And every time I looked in the mirror, I just felt like I almost did that, you know, where you're sort of doing that in the mirror. I found myself doing that a little bit. And my eyes as well in particular. So I guess it was this area and my eyes what really made me think, I really feel like I could look nicer for me. And it was more, my eyes are quite low anyway. They were even when I was, 10 years old. And so of course, again with age, and you lose volume around here. So again, it was that I every time I looked in the mirror, it started to niggle me a little bit. And then you're getting married and you want to look your best and you're even more bothered to start thinking about how you're going to look. So, yeah, I think that's what made me go for it.
I've always observed, I've said this to you loads, I think you have an awesome mindset generally. So I think you approach life on the front foot. No one would ever think of you as having being an insecure, far from an insecure person. And, the things that you've experienced in your life that have actually made you think, do you know what? I am going to grab life with both hands. I'm not going to let things bother me. So I think, and that's, am I right in saying that's your self-identity?
Yeah, very much.
And that comes across to me working with you closely. And so, I mean, are those two connected? When you potentially think about your friends saying, oh, what have you done, babe? You look great, babe. Tell me more about the identity. I'm interested in how that might jar with your identity. If they're saying, what have you done that for, babe? You're great. And I thought you were okay. You weren't. Or do you not worry about them saying that you thought you were insecure?
Maybe I am a little bit, yeah. Because I do feel quite confident in myself and who I am. And I think, I don't like to think that, and I'm quite proud that I've got to that. I think, as you go through life, that's what happens to you. So when you're younger, you don't feel confident, even though you're absolutely gorgeous. You don't think you are. You don't And now, bizarrely, at my age, even though I don't look as good as I did when I was 20, but I kind of feel better. It's like I have an inner confidence, and I do. And so I guess I'm quite proud of that. So the fact that somebody might think, oh, she's not as confident. She's not as together as we thought. She's not as self-confident as we thought. And I guess it's because I am, and so I wouldn't want people thinking that, because I am. I'm really confident. I don't have issues with how I look normally. I didn't have to have treatment. No. So if somebody said to me tomorrow, you will never be able to have an injectable treatment ever again, I'd be thinking, oh, that's a shame, because actually I loved having it. I feel better for it. I look better, but it wouldn't be the end of the world to me. I'd be fine. I wouldn't go into panic mode, or same if someone said you can never have your hair coloured again, I wouldn't go into panic mode, but I'd just be a bit disappointed, because it's you do these things because it just makes you look and feel better.
Yeah. So that's super fascinating, and that makes so much, now that I've asked you that question, that makes so much sense to me, because I 100%, my image of you, which I think is accurate, is that you are someone who, you got your shit together emotionally. I'm not saying, you're perfect. Of course, I wouldn't like you if you were perfect, but you've got your shit together. You have an inner glow. Again, it's not like a look at me, I'm the, but it's just a kind of quietly confident.
Content, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, content. That's a beautiful word. And so, if I'm hearing you right, you're almost saying that you wouldn't want people being a bit like, oh, I see Mrs. Content has had to go there with yeah. I know what you mean. I think it shows up for me a little bit differently, but because I am a little bit more kind of like, everyone, I'm having this, and you should all have this, because it's I'm a little bit more like extrovert than you, but. I find that so fascinating. And so now you overcame that. It sounds like the wedding was a trigger where you just thought, wow, bolster, was it a bit like that?
Yeah.
Was it a bit kind of...
because I mean, that's the other thing, I feel like I would have looked lovely on my wedding day. I mean, all sorts of neat. You have your hair done, you have your makeup done, so you look... I almost have this thing that I don't want people looking thinking, oh, well, that's the only reason. That's why she looks good. That's why she looks good, because she had treatment. It's the only reason why she looks good, because she had treatment. And that's part of why I look my best I can look. But actually, it's other reasons as well. I worked hard to lose weight and exercise before the day. You know, I had my makeup done, I looked after my skin. You know, I've generally looked after myself all my life, so I am quite lucky. You know, I do feel that I've looked after myself, and it shows that. So I kind of don't want, this is awful, but I don't want the treatment to take all the credit.
Yes.
That's an awful thing to say, but I don't want the treatment to take all the credit. I feel like I look good as well because I feel good inside, like I'm just happy and content and confident, and so I don't need to have the treatment to make me that person and look like that person. It's just almost like it's an extra. It's an enhancement.
Yes.
It's an enhancement of that, and that is I think the other issue that I have with it.
God,
yeah,
she's so fascinating. I've never even had this, you know, despite the fact that we've worked so closely, I've never had this conversation with you, but I totally get it. It's like you almost don't want them to think that you've somehow got a shortcut that they can't access.
Yeah.
This is so interesting as well because I came to your wedding and I spoke to some of your friends and family that I hadn't known before, and I had similar vibes. Because obviously I knew that they would know who I was, like I was your colleague. And I absolutely didn't mind them being like probing me and being a little bit like, oh, what have you had? Because people always ask me that. And I'm quite proud of it, like, oh, I've had this. But I also didn't want them defining me by my treatments.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like if I didn't work for us, I wouldn't tell anybody. As we know, so many of our clients don't. They don't. So I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't want them to know because I would want them to just think I look good. Like I look, and partly because I do look nearly, you know, I look mostly like I am because of how I am.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I do look even better because of the treatment. But I wouldn't want people to know that. I would just want people to think that I look like that. But of course, I work for them, and I want. It would be wrong for me not to. Talk about it and put it out there, and because we shouldn't feel like that, should we? I just don't get why, even though I feel like that, I don't understand why. Because when I put makeup on, when I go out on a Saturday night, I don't feel the same about putting makeup on, but actually I look better when I've put makeup on. That's why I put it on. But I don't think, oh, everybody tonight, when they say I look good, is going to say, oh, that's because she's got makeup on. That's why she looks good tonight, because she's got makeup on. People don't think. I don't know what the difference is why with aesthetics. That
Exactly. So now you're into a different thing, which we have spoken about, which is why do we... You're saying that somehow there's some kind of perception out there that maybe it's I don't know if this is quite the right phrase for what we're talking about. Maybe aesthetics is a step too far, and maybe it's too much of a, like, maybe only some people can have it, and it's a bit sort of like not elitist, but it's almost like this thing over here, or not just elitist, but actually maybe a bit wrong or something. And you said to me, tell me about the thought that you had with regards to hair dye.
Oh yeah. So because with aesthetics, everyone thinks there's risk with it. So because there's risk with it, it's why would you do that? Because there's the risk. So if something went wrong, then you could have prevented that from happening. I think that's where a lot of it comes from with aesthetics. Whereas with hair colour, nearly every woman I know has the hair coloured regularly and has done nearly all their life. Yeah, actually, I've seen a couple of circumstances where people have had the hair coloured and had an allergy to it, which is quite common, I believe. And you could literally colour your hair all your life and then suddenly one day have an allergy to it. And actually, I've seen a couple of examples where the results have been quite awful. But we don't really think about that. Yeah. Now, even though I know about that now, that's not put me off having my hair coloured, because I know taking the risk, the risk of that happening to me is so slim that I don't even think about it. But with aesthetic, and I don't think anyone does, so I think years ago probably people did talk about. I think years ago, I think people would look and go,
she's out of a bottle.
Such a body's having the hair coloured, God forbid. And it would be well, I think we spoke about this, didn't we? Because I was surprised when I watched Mr. Selfridge on the TV. I didn't, even though I came from a makeup background, I didn't even realise that. In the very early years, like I think Selfridges was the first shop to sell makeup, and he literally had to put it on the top floor of the department store because it was like shameful. It was like only prostitutes and tarts that'd wear makeup, and like nobody else. And so all the women had been like in there like tutting and like shameful that it was like the magazines on the top shelf, you know, it was a bit like that. And then now look, makeup is on the ground floor, one of the biggest selling departments, and everybody wears it. And it's seen as an impact, so over time, it's changed as hair colour has changed, and we can see, can't we, that aesthetics is also changing, particularly as the generations change. We can see the difference from now. It's very much quite more normalised, and actually, it's almost like some of the younger clients, it's, you know, gosh, you'd be crazy not to, you know, it's a completely different mindset. It's, you know, you're not anybody if you're not having your treatment. So the completely different mindsets we see, that not everybody is like me, of course, and I think it's good. I think if treatments are used sensibly and done correctly and sensibly and safely, then it should be an empowerment thing. I should feel proud that I care about myself, and I feel good enough about myself. I care about myself enough to want to look my best for other people, but also for me as well. I just
to invest in yourself.
To invest in myself.
And a few minutes ago, you listed a few things of the way that you over the years have, you know, you've always looked after your skin. I'm sure there was an investment there. Oh, it's snowing. That you have, and that you've, you know, as long as I've known you, you've always been a sensible eater, you know, not ludicrous, but you are, you know, you're looking at, you know, investing, and you've always exercised as well. And so those things you have naturally, and I would naturally see as empowering. But it sounds like what I'm hearing from you is that you're saying, I didn't want anyone categorising me as taking an unnecessary risk before my wedding, but then when you had that thought, you were like, wait a second, what about this hair dye that no one sort of says, oh, did you know that there's quite a high allergy? So there's a way higher allergy rates for hair dye, which is why you have to get a patch test, don't you? Anytime you go to a new hairdresser, you have to get a patch test. But for fillers, you don't, because it would be like the whole industry standard is that you don't, unless you are allergic to 50 million things, in which case we'll patch test you. But it's so fascinating. And it sounds like the reason that you didn't is because you didn't want people getting an untrue understanding of you. And can you answer me this? Is it important to you to define who you are when you meet someone? Do you kind of want to be, I mean, I know you wouldn't be like, hiya, I'm Joe, I am X, Y, and Z. You would never say it like that. But
I care about what people think.
But do you want to define that? Like, you want to define who you are? Because it sounds like you were saying, look, I am the kind of person who is quietly confident, who, doesn't majorly, need these things, but who likes to do it from a front foot position. Is it important to you that you make that list of those?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think I care what people think of me, and I guess, it does matter to me, yeah.
But I'm particularly interested in, so I'll tell you a story. So the other day, I was in a room with two of my male colleagues, and they were asking me how I felt about my treatment the other day, and they were throwing words out, and I didn't want them. I didn't want them to tell me the words about how my treatment was. It was so interesting, and one of them said, "Did you feel like you had a glow?" And I think I was almost verging on rude. No.
Yeah,
do you know what?
They were telling you how you felt, yeah.
And actually, I looked back at one of these Real Talk shows, and I had used the word glow myself, but I didn't want someone else to define me. Yeah. Whereas what I see in you, Joe, is I see that you have, again, I don't think you've thought about it and written a self-manifesto or whatever, but I think you have, over the years, have defined yourself. And then if someone comes along and says, what are you doing with all this risk, you're risking, I feel like maybe that is the problem. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, because I feel like I don't just make rash decisions either.
Yeah.
I am very cautious. I'm quite, I think about everything that I do and I don't. So I think, if I've made a decision, it's time has gone into it, and I've got a really good reason why I've justified why I'm doing it. So for someone to question it or tell me what is best for me, or
maybe that angle I was just trying to take there, maybe that's more of a me thing. Maybe it sounds like it's not so much that you mind whether they define it or you define it, it's more that you don't want there to be a disconnect. So if you have said, I'm a cautious person, you don't want someone to come along and be like, oh, I thought you were cautious. What's all this? Yeah. It's so fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's bizarre how you...
And do you, now that you've had it, how do you feel on the other side? So no one's going to judge you now because nothing went wrong and they're just loving life. So how do you feel now? Do you sometimes, have you had a raised eyebrow from your great Uncle Jim or?
No, not at all, no. Because I didn't tell anybody that I was having it done till I had it done.
Yeah.
So I think then they can see that you're fine and that you're actually, that I don't look like I've had treatment either. I just look exactly the same to them in actual fact. So I think that's why. But I do think, I've agreed to talk to you today and I'm thinking, if people see it, they might say, even now I'm thinking, if they see it, they might think, she's had treatment, and then the reason why I've agreed to do it though is because I know that is a crazy, and I shouldn't feel like that, and I feel like if I think like that, then that means other women do. So I feel like I've got to make a bit of a stand and sort of say we shouldn't be feeling like that. So even though I do secretly feel a bit like that, I'm not going to allow that to stop me, and that actually I want to help the women by thinking, even if you think like that, which you might, because I do, don't let it stop you. We should be proud of that. We want to look good and we want to look our best, and we should be proud of how we want to look, and we shouldn't feel like we should apologise to anybody for whether that be somebody that doesn't want to wear makeup or anything, can be completely natural, or somebody that does want to do whatever they do to feel and look better.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And I think that's you again, knowing you as I do, I think that you've come on your journey, and at the point at which you are ready, you go, do you know what, I'm going to be, whatever you want to call it, brave for you, and you think my time is right now, and I want to speak. Oh, it's gorgeous to see that you've come on that journey.
Yeah, but it's probably helped because I work in the industry, so I'm talking to people all the time. And you can tell, I can tell that they feel like I do. Of course, they want to look the best. Who doesn't? I mean, the big thing when I'm talking to a lot of the clients that I always think is, when I first started working here, if I'd have come in for consultation as a client, not working for us, and they'd have said, what do you want? Or there's no way that I would have been honest about what I really wanted. So I would have probably said, I'm getting older and lost a bit of volume and, whereas now, because I'm so comfortable because I work here, I would be honest, which is I just want to look prettier. I don't want to look more beautiful. And I would have never, ever said that. I'd have just thought, oh my God, they're going to think, you want to love yourself? You want to look pretty. It's like, and I don't mean like a model or something. I just want to look a bit, and then, but working for us, I think, it's crazy. Which woman doesn't want to look prettier? Yes. Which woman in the world, if they could be made to look prettier? But it doesn't matter if the most beautiful woman in the world, if you ask them, they'll still say, I'll be even prettier if it's on the table. Yeah, of course. Which man probably doesn't want to look more handsome? But none of us will admit it, will we? None of us would admit, and it's not because we love ourselves. It is just we just want to look as best we can, Whereas I would admit that now. But I wouldn't have done normally though.
I really honour you for admitting it. And do you know, I've been on a bit of a funky journey with mine, started with 3 syringes, then 10 syringes, then 5 syringes recently, all on different occasions. And having had my lips recently, it's made me feel, I said this last week, it's made me feel a little bit prettier. And now now that I've experienced it, I'm like, I will come out and say, yes, please, go on then, whatever you can do. But you don't want to say it, do you? Because you feel it defines you, and you don't want to be defined by someone else's identity.
But it does feel nice to feel like you look better and nice. It feels really good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's really lovely, genuinely, to get inside your mind and hear you say those things. And I honour you for being brave. And I do genuinely, like you said, I didn't know that you were on this journey, but like you said, it will empower other people. And to make their own decisions, not to come along and have 50 million syringes. It's just to start on whichever journey they want in order to make. And it might even empower them to be like, do you know what, I'm going to go makeup free and syringe free forever and ever. And that's their decision. And it's like, more power to you. But you do it. Don't be defined by other people's or societies.
Do what you want, not what you think you should do or what other people think you should be like.
Oh. Amazing. Thank you, my darling. Right. hope that's been of some use to you guys, and please do drop a comment below about, you know, any reflections, good, bad, do you agree with us, do you not agree with us? We're very, very open-minded, want to hear more, want to start a conversation. Also, please let us know about any other topics that you might like us to probe each other on and get inside our brains with regards to aesthetics. Anything you've been worrying about, thinking about, you know, think that society needs to talk about with regards to aesthetics. So please let us know. We're very, very keen to start the conversation. All right then, my love, signing off from Miranda and Joe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.